Hi, I'm Alex Palasoto.
Hi, I'm Kashish Bote.
Hi, I'm Owen Tassay.
Hi, I'm Quinn Nolan.
Hi, I'm Jillian Ray.
And welcome to Team 5's strategic analysis of Warner Bros. Discovery. In this video, we'll walk through our internal and external analysis of Warner Bros. And present the strategies we recommend to strengthen the company's position in the global streaming industry. Our group used the workbooks to structure our project, which helped us move step by step through Warner Bros. Vision, mission, and history, pest and industry analysis, internal analysis and ratios, SWOT and strategy formulation, and finally implementation. Today, we'll be discussing Warner Bros. Vision, mission, and history, key external forces shaping the industry, internal strengths and weaknesses, our SWOT and recommended strategies, and how Warner Bros. Could implement these strategies moving forward. Warner Bros. Discovery is a global media and entertainment company formed in 2022 through the merger of Warner Media and Discovery. Together, they own some of the most recognizable brands in the world, including HBO Max, Warner Bros. Studios, CNN, Discovery Channel, TLC, and DC Entertainment. The company operates through several major business lines: streaming, mainly through the Max platform, studios, producing films and series, linear cable networks, such as CNN and Discovery, sports broadcasting and rights, and licensing and distribution of their large content library. Warner Bros. Mission focuses on delivering premium storytelling to audiences around the world while using technology and data to reach consumers more effectively. Their vision emphasizes creative excellence, strong global brands, and a shift towards a streaming-first model. To understand the environment Warner Bros. Is operating in, we first conducted a pest analysis, which Owen will walk us through how political, economic, social, and technological forces shape the media and streaming space Warner Bros. Competes in.
Before we looked at WBD's internal situation, we first needed to understand the macro environment forces shaping the media and streaming industry, starting with the pest analysis. On the political legal side, WBD faces increasing regulations around 1. Data privacy, which is rules about how customers' information can be collected and stored. Second is cybersecurity, which is protecting platforms from hacking and data breaches. Third is intellectual property and content rights, especially important for licensing and global distribution. And then lastly is regulatory scrutiny of large media mergers. These factors influence how WBD handles user data, releases content, and structures partnerships. On the economic side, WBD is affected by 1. Higher prices in the economy, which is households are being more careful of where they're spending their money, and if they have multiple subscriptions, they look out for that too. And then second is shift in consumer spending habits. So like I just touched on, people are choosing fewer streaming services and rotating between them. And then lastly is rising costs for both original content and sports rights. This makes certain types of content more expensive to create or acquire. Overall, customers want value, which is making platforms compete harder to retain them. And then some social factors. Viewer behavior is changing quickly. Fewer people are using traditional cable. Audiences expect high-quality streaming on phones, TV, and tablets. Short-form content from TikTok and YouTube influences what people watch, and customers expect more diverse stories and global representation. All these trends shape the type of content that succeeds. And then moving on to some technological factors. Technology is changing how companies create and distribute content. AI, data analytics, and recommendation systems influence which shows and films get approved, how people discover new content, how long audiences stay interested. All these tools help WBD make smarter decisions and improve Max's user experience. The streaming industry is extremely competitive. It's expensive to operate, and it's still transitioning away from cable TV. Most households only pay for 2 or 3 streaming services, meaning every company is competing for one of those spots. When we rank competitors against WBD, Netflix and YouTube appeared as the strongest threats. Netflix is a global leader in streaming with a massive subscriber base, strong international presence, and proven profitability. YouTube, on the other hand, dominates audience attention with free content, strong creators, and a huge user base. Other major rivals include Prime Video, Disney Plus, Apple TV, and Paramount Plus. And then there's the substitutes like TikTok, video games, and YouTube Shorts, which drive away attention from the large streaming services. Then we used Porter's 5 forces. Using Porter's 5 forces, we found this. 1. Rivalry is very high against other large streaming platforms on content and price. 2. Buyer power is high because customers can easily cancel and switch. 3. Substitutes like TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts propose a serious threat due to its free and short form content. 4. Supplier power is moderate to high. Sports leagues and top creators have leverage here. 5. New entrance is moderate, especially from other tech companies with large funds and existing user bases. Overall, the external industry environment is challenging, which makes WBD's internal decisions especially important. Next, Quinn is going to go over what we found inside the company.
Once we understood the external environment, we used the internal workbooks to examine WBD's resources, capabilities, and financial health. We found that Warner Bros. Has several major strengths. First, its brand portfolio is a huge competitive advantage. Names like HBO, Warner Bros. Discovery, and DC are widely recognized and trusted. These brands help attract customers and support premium pricing. Second, WBD owns decades of films, shows, and documentaries. This allows them to reuse content and spend less on constant new production. Third, Warner Bros. Has diversified revenue streams, including subscription revenue from Max, advertising revenue from cable networks, ticket and licensing income from films, and sports broadcasting rights. However, we also identified several important weaknesses. Warner Bros. Struggles with profitability compared to some peers. While their gross margins are strong, their net income, return on assets, and return on equity are weak or negative, reflecting restructuring costs and a tough operating environment. In addition, the company is dealing with declining linear TV revenue as more customers move away from traditional cable. At the same time, the organization has had to combine two large companies, which creates slower decision-making and conflicting systems. Our ratio analysis showed a few different things. First, weak liquidity, meaning the company does not have a big short-term cash cushion that it can rely on. Next, it showed a negative profitability ratio. This means the net income and returns are negative due to high debt and restructuring. Lastly, it showed a strong gross margin. This indicates that their content does generate value. The issue is everything else surrounding it. In summary, Warner Bros. Has great brands and content, but financial pressure and industry changes create challenges. Next, Cash will show how we brought internal and external analysis together through EFE, IFE, and SWOT, and how we use those to create our strategy recommendations.
To connect the external and internal sides of our analysis, we use the external factors evaluation and internal factors evaluation framework and combine them into a SWOT analysis. From the EFE, we concluded that the WBD faces a difficult environment, but also has meaningful opportunities to reposition itself. Key opportunities include growing demands for live sports and events, the ability to use data and analytics to choose better projects, the rise of bundling and partnerships to offer more value to customers, and potential global expansion. Key threats include rising content and sports right cost, intense streaming competition, cybersecurity and data privacy risk, and the continued decline of linear television. The IFE score placed WBC slightly above average internally. This confirms that while WBD has serious financial and structural weaknesses, its brand, content, and global reach are significant strengths. We then built a SWOT analysis. The overall story from the SWOT analysis was that WBD must use its strong brand and content library, needs to control cost and prioritize profit growth, and should focus on strategies that improve engagement and retention without overspending on its content. From this, we developed 4 major strategies for WBD. First, Implement data-driven greenlighting. WBD should rely heavily on data and forecasting to decide which shows and film moves forward. This includes A. Audience demand projection, B. Search trends and viewing behaviors, C. Expected returns on investments. This reduces waste spending on low return projects and supports profitability. Second, lean into high value live sports. Live sports drive consistent viewership, are difficult to replicate, and helps reduce subscribers' turnover. By carefully expanding into sports with strong but cost-effective fan bases, WBD can increase engagement without relying only on expensive scripted content. Third, shift popular linear TV contents onto Max. WBD should move high-performing content from its cable networks onto Max. A. Captures value from declining linear audiences. B. Builds Max's library and perceived value. C. Supports a streaming-first identity. 4. Use bundles and partnerships to stabilize revenue. By bundling Max with other services or through partnership, WBD can A. Reduce subscriber turnovers, B. Offer more valuable to budget-conscious households, C. Create more predictability month revenue stream. These strategies are designed to use what WBD is best at, content and brand, while addressing the financial and competitive realities it faces. To show how WBD can actually execute these strategies, Jillian will walk through our implementation plan using the McKinsey 7 model and finish with our final recommendation.
To move from ideas to action, we use the McKinsey 7's framework to think about how WBD would need to align its organization around these strategies. WBD's organizational structure needs to fully reflect a streaming-first company. This means that Max should be the center of the business, and all other divisions, like Warner Bros. Studios, DC, and cable networks, should be aligned around supporting Max's growth. For example, studios should plan film and TV releases with Max in mind, or even consider releasing TV shows or films on Max first. In short, Max becomes the hub, and every other part of the company supports it. To run a streaming-first company effectively, WBD needs stronger systems, especially related to data and decision-making. This includes systems for data collection and analytics for understanding what audiences watch, rewatch, and search for. Greenlighting decisions that use performance data and forecasting tools to approve new shows. Return on investment forecasting for predicting whether a show or sports deal will actually pay off. And coordinating sports rights deals, including tracking costs, schedules, and performance of live events. For example, Netflix uses advanced predictive analytics to decide which shows to renew. WBD needs similar tools so leaders can quickly see what's working and change course when something isn't performing well. WBD also needs to strengthen its talents in areas that matter most for streaming success, such as data science and analytics, digital marketing and customer insights, sports rights negotiation, and platform design and optimization. For instance, improving audience insights would help Max recommend better content to users, similar to how YouTube and TikTok use algorithm-driven personalization. Leadership at WBD should encourage a culture that values performance and smart decision-making while respecting creativity. This means making decisions based on data and long-term profitability, not just what trends on social media for a week. This also means supporting creators, but making sure that projects have a clear audience and financial case. Over time, WBD should shift more employees from declining cable-focused jobs into areas like streaming operations, user experience design, and data analytics. For example, staff currently managing linear TV schedules could shift into positions like Max content operations or audience analytic roles. To make all of this work, The company's shared values need to reflect financial discipline, a focus on customer experience, innovation and smart use of technology, and long-term thinking rather than quick wins. These values help WBD stay consistent and avoid overspending on content that doesn't pay off. All 7 elements should reinforce the same goal, making Max the centerpiece of the company, using data to drive content decisions, growing sports offerings carefully and affordably, and building bundles and partnerships that create steady revenue. When everything inside the company points in the same direction, these strategies become much more effective. To conclude, our final recommendations for Warner Bros. Discovery are to make Max the clear core of the company, with all divisions aligned around it. Use data-driven greenlighting to reduce unnecessary spending, and only focus on high-return projects. Expand sports offerings thoughtfully by choosing rights that are valuable but also cost-effective. Move strong linear content to Max faster to bring more value to the platform. Develop bundles and partnerships to give customers more value and keep them subscribed. And finally, continue improving profitability and reducing debt to strengthen long-term financial health. If Warner Bros. Discoveries follows these priorities, we believe that it can move from a difficult post-merger period into a more stable, profitable, and competitive position within the global media and streaming industry.